So this is demonstration number 4, and it's on Part Master Detail. And going to the Part Master itself, so the first field that we haven't covered so far is revision level. And if the revision level has rolled, you would find it as far as the history of that. You'll find it here, and you would have the ECN that changed it from A to B. And if you wanted to look at the detail, you certainly could, but that's in the engineering module, and I think another demonstration for that. So back to the part master. Revision date, of course, coincides with the date that it rolled. The weight is in pounds, or that actually is defaulted to pounds. You can change that in the company settings. Whether it's a make, buy, or neither is assigned here at the time you create the part. The unit of measure is also something that is defaulted in the company settings. It can be anything that you want, but in most cases, I think the default of each is what's utilized. Security level and engineering group are only being shown here because I've activated this feature in the company settings. And if you have activated this, what it allows you to do is it allows you to assign this specific part or any part in the system to a specific engineer or engineering group, which is quite useful when you have a rather large staff. So that's the reason why you see it here. Part description, we know wheel assembly. The volume is optional. If you have the need to know volume for shipping, it can be indicated and entered here. Product code is optional. If you have codes that you want to assign, it can do that. Commodity code, I think, mostly is used in international shipping. Buyer code, if you have a number of buyers in the purchasing group, you can assign parts specifically to a buyer. Model, if you, as an example, I was in aerospace. If we had a part that we made for Boeing, and it was in the 737, we would have that here, and then we could take a look at the 737 in general as far as all of our sales orders. PO unit is the unit of measure that you buy it at. If that's each, that's normally what the default is, but you can enter it in here, whether it's you might be buying rivets by the pound. So if that was the unit that you buy in, that would be indicated here, and that is carried through to the PO, receiving, and storage. Sales drawing, yes or no, that's either one or the other. Same with sales item and sales catalog. If there is one, you will locate it through here. This is not something that we currently have in this company, but you establish that in the company settings, and that's how you would access it. Tracking refers to serialization, and you need to also activate that in the company setting. Actually, it's in quality in the company settings, and you enable tracking there. And then for each part here, if you enable that, it will require you to track serial numbers on every receipt, and you have to follow it through to stores. And then also when you issue to a work order, everything is done by serialization. You have to enter the actual serial numbers. On hold, it refers to if there's an ECN, if there's a change, and that is such that engineering determines they want to put the part on hold, that's done through the ECN. Whether there's a drawing, if there is one, it's uploadable. You'll be able to access it here. Country of origin is basically, and again, it's optional information. Bill of material we've covered before. The owner by default is whoever created the parts master. That can be changed. Work instruction, of course, we've covered already. Picture we've seen on the other side of this record. Material, if you'd like to add specific material type and size dimensionally, that can be added here. Traceable refers to testing. So this is once again optional information, and you can tell based on this is the default list that comes with the system that the company that developed this software obviously was very technical, and it gives you here different categories and specifications that can be assigned to a specific part. And this is all completely modifiable. You can delete these items, you can modify them to your own company needs, but I think it's very interesting the level at which the testing was done by this company. So there are 3 choices available for inspection type. It's compulsory, exempt, and then there's sampling. And this feature is designed to work in conjunction with the inspection report feature that's set in the quality module. And that's something I'll touch on in a later demonstration. But for now, that's just to explain what it is. So moving to the inventory area, a lot of what you see in this section of the part master is basically information that's just being displayed, and it's something that is generated elsewhere in the system. We've already covered some of this, but just quickly, on hand, on demand, on order, in WIP if there is any. SIP is short for ship in place, and if there is a situation where you do not ship directly from warehouse, but you create a pro forma shipper. Until that actually does ship, you would see it would display here, the quantity that's shipped in place. Shipped in transit is, this I believe ties into the vendor module, the vendor group module, and that's something that I haven't touched on yet, but if there was a shipment en route, that would be indicated here. On loan is if there is a swap order that was issued where there's no money involved, but you're swapping out or loaning a tool, that would be indicated here. In QA refers to any part that is on an NCR until it's finally dispositioned. It'll be in QA. A list price, if there is one, can be entered here. Average cost is calculated automatically by the system, and in this case it's the cost for the assembly, because that's what we're looking at here, and it takes all of the component costs and adds up that average as it stands so far in the system at this point in time. Standard cost is utilized and inputted here if in fact that is the way your company tracks cost of goods sold. That would be put in here. I'm not using that in this company, but that's an option that's set up when you install the software initially, and I'll talk more about that when I demo the installation of the software. Again, automatic fields that are just shown here would be last PO cost, last PO number. Part class is something that can be set here, and there is a settings that you have to access in the warehouse module, and this relates to cycle counting. So how frequently you might cycle count, you assign it to a part class, and that class can then be further defined by exactly how frequent you want to have the cycle count performed. Min-max is set in the part master here if it's a part that, such as a rivet, where you have maybe a minimum of 1 pound on in stock that you'd like to maintain and a maximum of 3. You would set those numbers here in the part master. Quantity of usage and year usage, that's all automatically calculated and displayed. Make lead time I covered in a prior demonstration, which you would enter here. MRP we've covered. NTO refers to transfer orders, which can be either internal warehouse to warehouse or external warehouse to warehouse, and I'll most likely have a separate demonstration on that at some point in the future. These codes shown here are not presently utilized as far as I know in the system. Moving down to the bottom of the screen, basically, again, we've covered the picture in the past, and that's where you would hit this key here if you wanted to upload a picture. Related information is also another example of the kind of navigation capability in the system. So everything that might be applicable to this part, where used, open POs, sales orders, so forth and so on, is all listed here for quick access from the part master. And I think that pretty much wraps up this presentation of Part Master Detail. So thanks for watching.